at 7.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Council on Future Conflict. My name is Scott. I am the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today, we have got episode 688. We're talking, because we had such a kind of, a catch as catch can, for the last week and a half or so. We're going to do a little world news roundup because there's a lot. It's basically like an odds and ends show. And we have two sections. We've got international, so world news, and then we've got domestic. So a lot of stuff happening in the world. It's almost, Joe, like we've talked about what a World War III would look like, and it doesn't look exactly like what everybody envisioned, though it is happening around the world.
Could I point out something about this photo, by the way? It's something that I hate about men who know they're being photographed or videotaped. See the homie there with the bullhorn in his hand? Look at the muscles in his arm. Does he need to be gripping the bullhorn that tight? No, he's doing it because he knows he's being photographed.
I mean, I guess it's nice to know that no matter how deluded you are in the mind, you're still a guy at the end of the day. You're still trying to look.
Yeah, but guys who feel like they have to do all that, they're not into it for the right reasons, right? It's good to have great physical strength. It's not good to have it for appearance. It's great to have it because someday I might need it.
I'm with you there. But that being said, I know a lot of guys who are in it for the right reasons, but still do that shit.
To me, it's pretentious and dumb. That's all.
Well, it's the follies of youth, I think, as much as anything.
So I don't know. I see some pretty aged dudes. I remember this guy in North Carolina at Mountain Readiness trying to impress a certain girl, and he was just everything he did, his arms were like that. And that dude made the mistake of kicking me, and I looked at him. I'm like, think it through before you do that again. And he was like, my bad.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I think you're right. I think there are a lot of, I always like the joke that deep down inside, I'm a 12-year-old boy, That being said, I would like to think that I have inculcated the lessons that I've come with my many failures over the years to become a better man. But many of us at our age still have a lot of the same problems, myself included, that I had when I was a teenager. So
listen, we're all 12-year-olds at heart. And as a guy who got to drive a fire truck this weekend, I acted exactly like a 13-year-old would when given control of a siren and an air horn. So, hey, Watcher, you got those photos?
Well, let me check in with Watcher real quick, and then we'll get into the various 4th of July activities, which Joe has a lot of pictures. I gotta say, Joe had the best time over the weekend. But Watcher, how are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. I'm somewhat disappointed that because of my state, I was unable to sell crawfish to people for the 4th of July, which seems like it would be an ideal holiday to get started on, doesn't it? But apparently the state decided sitting on their hands was more important. So apart from that, doing good.
Yeah, Jim is in the chat criticizing my mic. You turn it down. I'm not turn it down. I don't know. How does it sound, guys? I know I'm on a different mic than normal, so
It sounds like you are a radio dispatcher, but it's good.
well, maybe I think I will try to see if I can. Watcher, you got the levels? Can you just turn me down a stitch? I can't remember how to do that. Oh, here we go. Audio.
Did it. You should be good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hopefully that helps, Jim. I know your aged ears are sensitive and whatnot. So, Watcher, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, like I said, doing good, man. Just waiting on the old state to approve the licenses and ready to get underway.
Are you preparing chicken transportation for?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's apparently not many of you signed up for the chicken class, so it's not nearly as many chickens as I had ready to go. So
I know, but
no, I just mean the transportation won't be near as. In fact, I might not have to rig a trailer now that I think about it. If it's just 10, huh? Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. Get ready to go. They're looking good though.
I tell you what, I wouldn't want to ride in a truck with 10 chickens.
Oh no, they'd be in the back of the truck. But I was
in the cab. It's more fun with them in a cab.
When I thought it was going to be 20, I was going to rig up the trailer for it, but I could probably get them all into like a kennel, honestly.
It reminds me of that time when Molly did an entire show with us, Scott, with a chicken on her lap.
On her lap. That's exactly right. Yeah. And I don't know how many times like she would be interrupted by like, the whole cock-a-doodle-doo like kind of thing.
Yeah. For those of you who didn't watch the show back then, that's deep lore. Molly and the chicken.
Yes, Molly and the chickens.
She did not choke it, though. Also, if you're still on the fence about going to Mountain Readiness, come on and use code Wisdom5 and get 5% off. It's your best chance to meet old Hong Kong in real life. So,
or Watcher.
It will be fun. He'll be here at some point. So,
or Watcher.
He'll be hanging out.
Or Scott. Now that I think about it.
Scott is in a COD lobby.
Scott is in a basement. Scott's not just in a basement. Scott's in his parents' basement.
Yeah. So that's actually, one of the things I wanted to do is let me just do a little solo. So we got here, I'm in an old person's basement because we have the grandparent, the great grandparent, or my grandparents' secretary right here, which you can see how narrow it is. So that means it's old. Some random ass poster up here.
Not a roll top.
I'm pretty sure. Well, we have a roll top upstairs. I'm pretty sure this is the flag for my grandfather's funeral that he got from the VA or wherever they provide, something like that. And then back here, look at this. I don't know. It's kind of washed out a little bit.
But that's deep 80s lore right there.
That is a hanging Swatch watch on the wall, like one of the a giant wall clock of a Swatch watch. I thought that was really funny. And then you've got random ass shit.
You're ready for family game night.
You are,
right? Wow. I am. It's Scrabble, Pictionary, Sorry. I mean, this is all 40-year-old shit, man.
Fun times.
Man. Anyway, so I'm hanging out in my parents' basement right now, and that's the life of a retired Army officer who hasn't figured out where he's going to end up working. So, my parents have a big enough house.
Speaking of retired Army officers, in an effort to make Scott feel good, we all know that I got the Korean barbecue spam to make him feel at home. But I picked something else up just for you, Scott, and your impending trip out here. I picked up a little bit of this stuff.
Gochujang.
Yeah.
Gochujang.
So little Korean dipping sauce.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So here's what you do is you get the pork belly, the uncured pork belly, and you put that on the grill. You grill that, and then that's what you use with that gochujang. It is.
So me and Yogi
kiss.
just made some uncured pork bellies the other day, and it was delicious.
Ooh.
Hunch had some with us, and all right, we'll do that the next time. So
I'm hoping that can be one of our hanging around the grill nights.
So this right here is our 1987 Ford 800 fire engine. Or not Ford 800. That's the body style. It's actually a Grumman with the big cat engine in it, but fantastic fire engine, all decorated up for the parade. There we are putting the flags on there. That's Tina, a fan who was there helping us out at the event. We decided, since she was here camping and she was here for, she's going to be back from mountain readiness, we drafted her and we had her sit behind the steering wheel of the Jeep, and she helped me put the flags up. Pretty cool. The truck won an award again. I did not actually get the award from the guy, so I don't know if we won first or second place, but we really enjoyed it. We also had a Jeep. Did you get the second set of photos, Watcher? This Jeep is very special to me and Matt, because the first time we came out here to Montana, this 1946 Jeep Willys was sitting in the garage, and it was a combination of bright orange and pink. And so we repainted it into Battleship Gray, and we found an old trailer to go with it. And then I found a 1776 flag, and we have this now fully restored. It runs, but we didn't want to run it down the parade route and risk any damage to it. So we just pulled it on a trailer, and had a couple local kids handing out candy from it. It's pretty good. We will have the Jeep on display, Jeep and fire truck on display at Mountain Readiness for everyone to look at and everyone to climb all over and all that kind of stuff. But we do just have to keep the fire truck ready to be in service, because it is actually registered as a wildlands firefighting fire truck. So,
Joe, I like how you have euphemistically referred to Battleship Gray to what is actually Primer Gray, ready for its army to go.
It's Battleship Gray. Come on, I have to live Al's dream here. That's what he told me. I'm like, oh, is that what that is?
Is that what? It's really funny, and you would appreciate this, Joe. At some point I'll have to dig out some pictures. When I was in Iraq, we had an old gun truck. It was a 1025, I think, gun truck, and so it was an unarmored, shellback Humvee, right? And they had rusted out floorboards, and it was just in not awesome condition, but it was a runner, because like we did missions with it all the time. Well, one day my driver and my gunner found, that spray lubricant. It looks like spray paint, but it's a spray lubricant, and it makes this. It has a gray lubricated kind of
graphite.
It's a dry lubricant. Anyway, it's not graphite. It's a spray on. You'd think for all the world that it's gray spray paint, but it's a lubricant. And so they found a bunch of cases in one of our random ass buildings of that spray lubricant, and they decided, because the paint was green, it was a dark green, like woodland camo pattern in Iraq. They thought, well, this gray would look better than the woodland camo pattern. And plus we got rusty spots, so it'll cover the rusty spots. And so they painted the entire Humvee in this dark gray, and for all the world looks like Panzer gray from like early, like the early war.
That's
so
funny.
We had a gray gun truck, and then we found an old busted up car that had been imported into Iraq from the EU somewhere, and I think it had German license plates on it. And my driver put the German EU license plates on the front and back of the Humvee. And he said, can we put like German army markings on it? Like, no, no, we can't do it. But we did mount an MG3 on it at one point. That was kind of funny. Don't ask me how we got an MG3.
As long as we're here, I can't believe I have a story that somewhat, just small story, and it kind of matches that. I had a Pinewood Derby car that did really, really good. Like my last year doing Pinewood Derby. And I noticed when I was like doing it, before I painted it, we were doing test runs. And I noticed that the graphite was staining the areas of the wheel wells where I put it on there. And that's what it hit me. So I just put the whole thing in graphite, and that was the paint. Just rubbed it right into the wood. It was gorgeous. Same thing your driver did, just in miniature.
So we just learned that Watcher cheated at Pinewood Derby to win.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, not actually cheated, but definitely analyzed the rules and went, hey,
I can make
wait
this
a minute.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of looking at the chat, and I want to appreciate the Rumble chat for all the references to being my basement. Jay Clark says, Scott, we need Scott to yell for tendies or pizza rolls. And then somebody says, Scott says, not now, Mom. I'm online with my friends.
Actually, Dreamer, I won state.
TWSB, I'm never going to paint that Jeep in Rhodesian brushstroke because I promised an old man I would leave it alone. So,
all right. Just me. Here we go. This is a big one. Appreciate your support here. Gotta admit, I didn't want it to stay up for the show on the mall, but the wife made me, and wow, I had no idea we had such singing talent wearing in our yes. Yeah, the musical talent in uniform is shocking. The Army bands are professional bands, and a lot of these people are people who are just below the highest level of symphonic orchestra and band kind of level, and some of them are at that level, or so they are at the highest level. Great event, and on top of it all, the Dems bitching about many fireworks. Trump for the win. Hey, so let me just, since we're already on this, we didn't have anything planned for this, but I want to shout it out. If you haven't had a chance to watch Trump's speech, that went they were 2 hours late or whatever, because there was a really heavy rainstorm. They had to evacuate the mall. And so he was 2 hours late, and then Trump finally comes out. He does his speech, but his entire speech, you'd think he's going to do like a campaign rally speech, but he completely surprised me, and he did something that was very reverential to America, specifically about the American flag. And it's definitely worth a watch. He had a lot of American flags on stage with him. And he did a great job of actually calling out families and people who were involved in the events. So it was very cool. Definitely check that out. I think the speech was not too long, maybe 20 minutes. So it may have been longer. It just seemed relatively short for him. Anyway, yeah, give that a look. And the fireworks, did you guys see any of the video of the fireworks? Pretty fucking impressive.
No, I actually went to the Condon, Montana fireworks with Hunch, and we were actually quite impressed with what small town America can do when given explosives and alcohol. It was actually quite the show put on by a couple of dudes in a rodeo square. And man, it was pretty rodeo arena, and it was actually pretty darn cool. But back to the musical thing, I'll point out that there's a reason why the Marine Corps band is called the President's Own. So they are a pretty legit symphony band, just like the Army one. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the Army band, the Marine band. All the services basically have. Isn't that one of them joint? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I think everyone has their own. Although, you know what? I don't know that the Navy does. I believe they just have the Marine Corps band. I don't know.
Well, that would make sense that the Navy Department gets one band.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
so some sailor will probably correct me and tell me what an idiot I am, but I literally don't know. I've never
Joe,
seen
God, you know nothing, Joe.
exactly, but I've never seen a naval band. And like each Marine division has their own band, and then there's the Marine Corps band. So
I just have to say that somebody already semi-mentioned it. My favorite meme of the whole weekend had to be the do you have any idea how many transgender surgeries we could have paid for Tren de Aragua gang members with the money that we spent on that fireworks display? Just the best.
yeah, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy.
During a well played. They can't find anyone to play the flute in the Navy, but
In the Navy.
That brings me back to some other show lore, like when Watcher revealed that he believed that in the Navy by the Village People was an actual Navy recruiting video. They used it as such, but it was not an actual Navy recruiting video.
So just me, I was not aware of this one right here. That do you guys know anything about this? The battleship of Texas fired its 14-inch main guns for the first time.
I didn't hear that. That's awesome.
I know that would be cool.
Well, what would be really cool is they've actually shot like a blank shot through it. Like with the breech. You know what I mean? Loading powder, putting the breech in. But I get the feeling that it might have been like one of those kind of things where it was a charge fired out of the barrel that wasn't a real.
Now, before we move on and change topics, come on, guys, that was pretty good. That was the Happy Plague Doctor. That was pretty good.
Well, Radcon said that the Navy was too busy bussing the Marines around to form a band. That's true. I want to point out, though, a conversation I had over the weekend, since it was the 250th anniversary. And just before the parade began, a Missoula County Sheriff's deputy pulled up. They closed off the highway for the length of the parade briefly. And he walked over and he was checking out the fire truck, and he and I were chatting. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry you got stuck working the 4th." And he's like, "No, actually, I volunteered for it and for parade duty." And he goes, "It's a shame, though, that I had to drive this far out to find a parade to actually work on the 250th anniversary of the country." And this was in Missoula County, Montana. We actually, the camp is in Lake County. Missoula is the one to the south, but the nearest town is in that county. And I said, "There's no parade. There's no 4th of July parade in Missoula. Why not?" And he laughs and he goes, "Bro, you and I both know why there's no 4th of July parade in Missoula." And what troubles me is that Missoula, the last stand, right? America's last stand, the last best place. The Missoula city flag is the pride flag. And they refuse to hold any sort of a major celebration for the 4th of July. Crazy. Un-American, some might say.
All right, real quick, I just want to say that I think they're rolling out the Trump accounts today. So, public service announcement. Look into it if you have grandkids or kids who this applies to. It's a really good deal. If you have little kids, it's a very, very good deal because the younger you can help invest money in these accounts, the longer it grows. And the wonder of compound interest is the great equalizer in our favor for these. So give that a look. I think it's a great opportunity. And if your kids are young enough, I think there's a lot of free money that's being donated by a lot of Fortune 500 companies and some of these billionaires that are so evil, right? And talk about good use of donated billionaire money going into regular people's Trump accounts, or I think there's a different name for it, but Trump accounts is a really good way to do that. So please take advantage of that. And as grandparents, I understand you can actually also put money in as well. So I don't know all the details. Look into it, see if it applies to you. Yeah, any kid under 18, you can put money in to start. Yep. And so It's a really good program. I looked into it a couple months back, and I'm doing one for my kids, or at least my one kid that is under 18. So I recommend you guys look into it as well. All right, sorry guys, this was just a little.
Can you not hear me?
I just heard you.
Oh, I tried to say something earlier too. I was assured that billionaires are just out for profits and they don't donate
That's
their
right.
money to good causes.
That's right. You know what's shocking, Joe, is that when billionaires are on their side, they're great people, especially when they're donating it to leftist loser causes. But all of a sudden, when they want to help regular people without a political agenda, it's shocking how evil they are. And then there's some action going on in Florida, guys. I'm gonna put this. And recommend you look at it before you post it. It may not be appropriate for younger viewers because it's pretty graphic. Well, it's a sports thing, so you may not be appropriate for our show, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, moving on. Let's talk. Anything else, guys, on the broader agenda before we jump into the odds and ends?
I'll just say it again. Go register for Mountain Readiness West. Use code Wisdom5 to save 5%. Get out here and hang out with us.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait. I'm buying my plane ticket here probably this afternoon or tomorrow. I got to do a little shopping since I'm going to be getting a rental car. It looks like so I got to get the best deal I can.
But you're about to have a really cool ride over over McDonald Pass, and it's going to be great.
Well, Joe, at first I was kind of just bummed because it was going to take a long time. But then I started realizing, I was like, man, this is like some beautiful country between.
Seriously, when you leave Helena and you go over McDonald Pass, it's going to blow your mind away. It's fantastic.
Are there like a lot of overlooks and places to stop there?
Oh yeah, you can pull over all over. And then that stretch from when you make the final turn onto 83, one, you're in the most dangerous stretch of road for car deer accidents, so be careful. And two, the overlooks over all the lakes, Salmon Lake, Sealy Lake, Inez Lake, all of those are just gorgeous. And you'll see a couple elk herds along that way. So
I just decided that instead of showing it on the show here, I'm going to share this link with the fan chat. It's I feel like I have a little more freedom to be a smart ass.
Heimdall asks when you're flying. Was it the 23rd?
Yeah, 23rd, I think is when I'm flying. By the way, if anybody's going and wants to go on the 23rd and meet me and ride from what is the town again? Bozeman. From Bozeman. I'm going to be driving a rental car from there on the 23rd.
That's what the guys from War Lizard Tactical are doing the week before too. They're flying into Bozeman and then driving up. If you do that, guys, take 287, not the freeway. The freeway takes you an extra hour and a half. If you take 287, you're going to come right up over the mountains, and it's gorgeous the whole way.
All right.
And you drive right past Father Abraham's house. You can wave on the way.
Father Abraham. Let's see, Karen.
Yeah, Hunch has a great point. The first time you drive up to the camp, do it during the daylight. It's not fun at night.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been there, so I know that the last bit will be the easier bit because I've actually been on that road and I kind of have an idea of what to look for. Karen says, are you looking to buy in Kentucky and what are you looking? Yeah. So ultimately I have no idea where I'm going to settle down. I'm looking for the job first, and I've given myself the ability to look for jobs literally all over the country. Because the idea is that I don't have a particular place that I have to live. That being said, I have parts of the country I'd rather live in, i.e. anything that looks like a constitutional carry state. That's kind of my big criteria. But
And Karen, on that note, we just convinced Scott to figure out how to get his DMs open so that you can send them direct to him instead of sending them to me and me having to send them to him.
Yeah,
So,
I thought my DMs were open, so I guess they're not. So I'll look into that and figure out and make sure I can receive DMs from everybody who's interested in sending them to me. All right.
yes, Derna, I've been trying to tell Scott that too, but he don't listen.
What are we talking about here? You're a
I
free
said, you're
man
a
now, so
free man now, Scott. You can employ yourself. Be a contractor.
I got it. Here's the problem. I am a free man who has to pay for my daughter's colleges 2 times, and I also have to keep my wife in exotic handbags to her content. And so, to the extent that I can do that, I can also work for myself. Therein lies the rub, if you will, and that's a self-imposed one, not one that is.
Hey, you know what? You are now officially a Kentucky colonel.
I am. I am a colonel, and I live in Kentucky.
Oh, and that reminds me, this weekend they were like these guys walked up to me all in uniform, and it was 3 colonels and a lieutenant colonel. It turns out one was a Navy captain, but I introduced myself to them all, hey, colonel, captain, whatever. And then I go, is there some sort of association of colonels in the area? And they all laugh. And I go, no, seriously, because I have a retired lieutenant colonel coming here in a couple weeks, and I'd like to hook him up with you guys. And they were all like, oh yeah, have him come by. But I know what bar they'll be at, so we'll be okay.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a done deal. I appreciate that. By the way, this is a great point. Durna says I'm free. Well, no, American Dreamer gets the point that I am still married, and I will continue to be married for the foreseeable future, and until I step in front of a bus accidentally, and then my wife can collect my life insurance at that point. All right. Let's jump in. So really the only odds and ends we have here, because it's kind of like the odd thing out. So you guys know on this show, we like to discuss all the little brush wars you never hear about anywhere else. And one of those accidentally, pushed more likely by one of my family members, because I've become annoying in my old age. But don't we all? All right. Anyway, so on this show, we like to talk about a lot of the brush wars that you don't hear about through most other places. And one of those, if you remember back in April, that we've been talking about, well, we've been talking about Sahel for, the Sahel region for a long time. But in April, we talked about how the Russians, the Wagner, former Wagner, now the Africa Corps, had boosted the junta, or whatever you want to call it, in Mali, and they're kind of on the back foot after the Tuareg rebels, and let's see, you got the FLA rebels and the JNIM jihadists. So basically, 2 separate groups that have kind of teamed up, have put them on the back foot. So here, I got a little summary here. Let me read this, and then Watcher, you've got the images from the subsequent leak, so you can kind of like put them over the top of this. So anyway, as we discussed on the show back in April, when the big coordinated offensive first hit, northern Mali continues sliding further into rebel hands. So today we're going to check the latest flare-up around Anifis track. So one of the sources for this is a analyst that I've been reading over the weekend, called Saladin Al-Jaruni. He focuses specifically on like jihadists and other kind of Muslim extremists throughout Africa. Anyway, in late April, FLA Tuareg rebels and the JNIM jihadists seized Kidal and forced Malian and Russian forces to withdraw from several northern bases. Now on July 4th and 5th, they renewed attacks on Nefis, Anghuk, and Gao. The rebels claim they have controlled Anifis town and have trapped Malian and Russian Africa Corps troops in their base after ambushing a reinforcement convoy from Gao. Videos show a possible downed Russian helicopter. The Malian army insists that it repelled the assaults. This latest setback in Mali raises fresh questions about the wider Sahel region. And for another Russian-backed ally like Burkina Faso, our favorite camo drip man, Traore, who
Right.
faces a parallel jihadist threat at his home. Both sides in Mali have serious bloods on their hand. The junta and its Russian partners have a track record of brutal tactics, civilian abuses. The FLA and JNIM coalition brings its own history of violence, hostage taking, and hardline control. This is a messy internal power struggle and not simply a morality play. Foreign interventions from France and Russia have mostly prolonged the suffering. The realist take, I think, is that we should let the locals fight. This is, Joe, it's shocking how when we see these, it's like, let them fight. But at the same time, we need to be aware of what the implications could potentially be as things spread in that greater region. Let's see. As the danger spreads, these Sahel conflicts have already bled into Burkina Faso, Niger. Further gains by jihadist groups could create wider instability, fracturing states, and more operating room from extremists across the borders in zones where Islamist militants have expanded control elsewhere in the region. Christian communities and churches have faced increased targeting and pressure. That pattern could worsen here if northern Mali fragments further. So this is, once again, we'll continue to monitor this situation. Joe, how do you kind of read into this? I mean, Russia had been a stabilizing, force in this area after France left, but evidently that's not holding as well as I think they would like.
Okay, I gave you a little bit of a pause there. So I didn't know if you were done with the question.
Yeah.
It's listen, France's departure enabled the Russians to come in, but the Russians aren't performing the level that the Russians, I guess, promised they would. And I think that comes from the Russian government now being distracted by what's going on in Ukraine. Because as much as Africa Corps is a private company, it's also not, right? That the true private company doesn't really exist in Russia as much as they like to claim it does. So they're getting a lack of support from the Russian government due to assets being diverted to the Ukraine conflict and various other brush fires that Russia has to fight elsewhere. So I wanted to point out, like, when you looked at that base from the air, it showed a complete lack of organization, and it's a base that none of us would have tolerated as an American service member or contractor, right? So that shows a little bit about the local allies the Russians have to work with, who tend to turn a state-of-the-art military base into sort of a tribal camp, right, where you've got civilians and you've got disorganization rather than something you can actually defend. So I think that plays a little bit in there. And I think that the true adage that no matter where you go in the world, everyone likes to shoot at the white people. That actually plays into the Russian problems. They're viewed as a colonizer. And so the Tuaregs play on that. And it gives the Tuaregs sympathy versus the oppressive Europeans. And as much as Russians don't want to admit it, they are indeed Europeans. So that plays an issue here too. I wanted to point out, though, that when you saw the radio antenna tapping on the screen of wherever that video came from, my body was screaming, "That's a Baofeng antenna." And then the guy was standing there next to the Toyota truck. I don't know if you guys caught it.
Yeah.
Right there, that antenna. That's a Baofeng antenna. Yeah. The guy standing next to the Toyota truck had a Baofeng in his hand. So the Baofeng radio is out there.
The Baofeng.
That base just looks scary to me. Ugh.
Well, it's I hate to say it, but there's probably reasons why Baofeng are being used by these guys, but the fact is that Baofengs continue to be used by these guys. So that shows you that it holds up in field conditions, even though it's kind of like, the way we think of the Baofengs is like, you don't have one, you have three, because when the first one smashes on something, you've got two more to go. But
that reminds me, I have over there the Radtel 950 that I lost in the woods for 45 days. And during that 45 days, it had snow, rain, heat, and cold. And it fired right up, turned right on. So they're not as cheap. I mean, they are cheap. I guess the answers are inexpensive, not cheap, right?
Yeah.
The modern versions of these radios actually work quite well for the dollar you spend for them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, that in the background is called auto rotation, and it's never a good thing.
Yeah, so this is the Mi-24. So essentially what happened is you had this convoy, and I think we already showed some other video of it. But you had this convoy that was ambushed, and then the I don't know if it was like an air QRF that was sent out, but that Mi-24 was either escorting the convoy or was sent out as like air QRF, and it met a significant amount of fire. And yeah, that was a bad day for those guys. And they can evidently they confirmed that both the pilots, of course, were killed.
Mutually Assured says he used a Baofeng on Lake Superior. I bet on Superior you could get 70, 80 miles with no problem because there's literally nothing out there. Anyway.
All right. Anything else?
Man, how come like the average desert dweller could have a PKM, but I can't?
Well, who says you can't, Joe? I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know what's stopping you.
I mean,
was there a Dushka right there? There's a Dushka right there too.
Yep.
I feel like most of them probably got theirs from their granddaddy.
It looks like an SVD though. Oh no, that's a what is that? No, that was the PKM. Never mind.
And their granddaddy's got it off a Russian truck.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anything else about the Sahel we need to talk about?
Don't think so.
No.
You know, kind of worthy of a odds and end moment might be covering the large amount of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles that just went into Kiev. Literally, I guess the things I'm seeing are like reported in the last half an hour, talking about 26 ballistic missiles targeting mostly Ukraine's defense sector, which took the brunt of Russia's overnight strikes with facilities in Kiev, Poltava, Cherkasy, Chernihiv, and Dnipropetrovsk hit. Yeah, secondary explosions of these videos are pretty wild. So that's worth. I mean, I tell you, Joe, Russia's not playing around. They wanna bring some hurt to Ukraine after all these energy infrastructure hits. Also, I don't know if you saw, but the factory that makes a lot of the ballistic missiles, in Russia was hit. So they're doing some significant damage against their both energy and defense infrastructure of both of these countries.
How do you suppose they're pulling that off?
You mean the Russians or the Ukrainians?
Ukrainians.
Well, we know
I know how they're pulling
Ukrainians
it off. I just want to get your opinion.
No, I don't think there's any opinion. I think it's a fact.
Yeah, right. They're getting somebody's got their hand on the scale. We'll just say that.
Well, and you know what's interesting, Joe, is that the more Russia's internal industry gets hit, the more it's and the fact that they're able to continue to maintain their equipment shows that China has absolutely become a major supplier to Russia for these types of whether it's chips and boards and technical stuff. I mean, we've been saying that for a long time, but it's becoming increasingly obvious that is where the lion's share of their support is coming from. So I think that's worth noting.
You know what? Somebody just texted me something else that's worth noting, and it's me once again promoting mountain readiness. I have it on good authority that these bad boys here, these Montana Huckleberry hard candies, are out of stock online. I know a store down the road that has hundreds of bags of these. If you want these gems, got to come to Camp Ponderosa. Anyway, I'm sorry. Carry on.
All right. Let's move on. Joe, you want to talk a little more about tactical-wisdom.com? Oh, you know
Why
what,
not,
Joe?
Scott? Let's just do that.
Can I talk about tactical-wisdom.com? I'm just
Sure.
saying, my collection finally caught up with me. You know, we got here. Little.
Just make sure those aren't your dad's, because I left a set with him too.
Well, they're mine now. Anyway, so they're here. They're the house's copy. Let's just put it that way. So
there you go. That's a good way.
And I don't see book one though. So I know I have a copy of book one that I had in Korea. So when that
I have it on pretty good authority. There's going to be a nice supply of those here, so we can fill in your needs. So if you're coming to Mountain Readiness, buy my books when you get here. If you're not coming to Mountain Readiness, go ahead and buy them either on my website or on Amazon, and we'll get you taken care of with books and signed copies at that. So tactical-wisdom.com is where you can find the information about our classes. Hazmat did a member chat to say Camp Ponderosa is where all the cool kids hang out. We smoke behind the dumpsters. No, that's where Hazmat camps, is behind the dumpsters. And I think it's because Hazmat feeds the bears, because the bears live behind the dumpsters. So anyway, crazy times.
Wait a minute. Is Hazmat a bear?
Not right now, but when he comes out, he usually camps right next to the dumpsters. So I don't know why he does, but he does. So that's where he parks his truck. Probably because we do classes in the dining hall across from it. So check that out. Check out the class schedule. We have a whole bunch of classes coming up starting this weekend. It's almost a straight shot through. I have combatives this weekend, the 10th through the 12th. Still time for you to register. We got a few people signed up already, where you can learn about unarmed self-defense and ground fighting. You can learn about stick fighting and knife fighting, and you can learn cold firearms combatives, to include bayoneting an MFer right in his chest. So we will have fun with that. And then immediately after that, I'm going to teach a class called Protective Services Concepts. I've got a few guys registered for that, where you can learn a little bit about the protection field and how you can protect a person in public. We're not going to get too deep into it, but we will get there. And then we have War Lizard Tactical out here, the 18th and 19th, doing their defensive handgun class, which is a very comprehensive 2-day class. I can't recommend their work enough. War Lizard Tactical is great. We're going to do some swag here for us to give out during Mountain Readiness. And then I roll in. I'm doing a community security ops class Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, July 20th through the 22nd. There's still some room in that, but I got a few guys signed up for that as well, where you can learn how to protect a neighborhood or a community. Then I got a 1-day gap before we run into Mountain Readiness, because we got to set things up. But the 24th, 25th, and 26th, we will do Mountain Readiness right here. I just had a local outdoorsman show up and volunteer to take people on a plant identification walk, showing them some of the local plants that are good for food and what ones are dangerous. So that's kind of cool. Really neat thing. Then right after Mountain Readiness, I'm going to have a defensive pistol class. That's 1 day, 200 rounds. We're going to go over some basics of defending yourself with a pistol. And mutually assured, there are some bayonets for sale at Camp Ponderosa. You thought it was a joke, but we do have a couple in the inventory. For those who are coming out here, we have a whole gear room that's full of U.S. and well, actually worldwide military surplus that you can come and shop at, and you just make us an offer, and we'll let you buy stuff. So we have the largest collection of knives up there. So come check all that out. And I'm hoping to have our display of World War II rifles up and on the wall before everyone arrives. So come and join us. Go to mountainreadiness.com to register. Use code WISDOM5 to save 5%. Hey, if you already bought them, I can't help you. Sorry, my bad. I've only been saying it like for 3 months. Use code Wisdom5. So get on it and get out here. Come hang out with us.
Very good. As always, Joe, can you talk real quick about the vendors that are going to be there at the event? That's kind of the thing that I'm excited for, is like a lot of the different people that
I don't even know how many we have. We have
before,
a bunch.
Immediately perfect, and then buy their shit, right?
Yeah. So let me go off of memory. First of all, let me just say to Heimdall, yes, we always take more gear to throw in there, and all the money raised from the gear supply shop is considered a donation to Camp Ponderosa and goes right back into programs and services we offer, and paying the light bill here, which is rather extensive because we have to keep lights on 24 hours a day to keep the bears from breaking into the buildings. They're black bears, so draw your own conclusion. 13% of the bears cause 80% of the crime. Anyway, so we're going to have Exumbris designs. That's always fun. Eric is a great guy. You can custom kit out your belt right here and take it with you. We're going to have Steve again from Mountain Pass Safe and Coin. He sells silver and gold, but more importantly, he sells non-lethal devices. And we had a lot of fun. Watcher, you remember, we had a lot of fun when he demonstrated tasers and paintball pistols, and I shot that Mossberg Shockwave with the beanbag round, which was pretty sweet. So he'll be here. As usual, Vigilante Engineering will be out here with all of his 3D printed wares and supplies for your various communications equipment. We're going to have Gorilla Medical out here. They're going to be having a whole lot of medical supplies and gear for you to buy. 223 Preparedness. He's teaching a first aid class, and he'll have first aid gear here as well. And we just have tons and tons and tons of them. Tactical Wisdom will be there selling his books. Nice, Scott. Well done. We're going to just, I don't even know the rest of them. We have tons of them, you guys. It's going to be fantastic. There's a list at mountainreadiness.com of the vendors that we're going to have. Actually, Watcher, why don't you go there and click on vendors and click on instructors? We should be doing this a little bit more often so people can see it. Mountainreadiness.com, click events, and then click West.
Give me a minute.
And Gene Rogers, that's not true. There is a polar bear here. Thor is a polar bear. I had some girls this weekend when Thor stood up to talk to her dog in her car. She was like, "Your dog looks like a polar bear." I'm like, "Oh, I know. Believe me, I know." Did you find it? Oh, there we go. So these are a bunch of the vendors who will be there. Lost Waste Survival. Let's see. Wild Ops Box. That's actually like Battle Box, but for kids. And it has all kinds of outdoor themed gifts for the kids. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, Millie Copper, she does a lot of holistic health and things like that. So she'll be out there. Survival gear. Broken Spokes Productions. That's Russ Sawyer. He writes a series of books called The Hang Chronicles. Chris Weatherman will be here. That's going to be kind of cool. And that Gahagan Customs, that's a knife maker. He will make you a knife right here and help show you how to do it. So we have all kinds of people coming out and doing lots of neat stuff. The add-on courses there is not correct. I got to add in Wilderness First Aid by Mobile Outdoor Skills Training. Gene and Sarah, they do a fantastic job out there. And if you want to click, is there a thing there for instructors? Instructors. Click instructors, Watcher. Yep. So these are all the people we're going to have teaching classes. Pat Militich is a UFC champ. Brian Duff is for Mind for Survival. Millie Copper teaching about some holistic health stuff. Brent Weir, our favorite fire captain in the Pacific Northwest. is going to be doing a first aid class and talking about first aid. Mariah Prussia is also a UFC fighter. She's doing a women's self-defense class. We have lots of things going on, lots of really cool and fun things. Kay will be teaching a CQB course just beforehand, and he'll be doing a talk on digital privacy. And as y'all know, Kay is my man for digital privacy. I have a phone designed by Kay, and he is just a solid dude. So you're going to want to come on out. It's going to be fantastic.
Heck yeah.
All right. Let's do the brush beer ad. Oh, by the way, I'll be there with comics too. Just saying, if that's your ballywick.
Oh yeah, Scott will be selling comic books, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever Watcher brings, I will sell. All right.
Sweetness.
So 4th of July was this weekend, and as we said, celebrate the birth of American freedom. You remember the brave men who fought in the revolution. We're reminded how quickly liberty can be put to the test. With global tensions rising and domestic unrest never far away, the spirit of 1776 is more relevant than ever. Sometimes you have to be ready to fight for what's yours. When the grid goes quiet or normal communications fall, real patriots don't wait for help. They stay connected and in control, i.e. the Baofeng radios. Brush Meter Store has exactly what you need. The AR-152 Pro, a battle-hardened handheld radio built like a tank with 10-watt tri-power, massive 12,000 milliamp battery, built-in GPS with APRS, expanded frequency coverage, including airband and multiple antennas for reliable performance when cell service disappears. Back it up with the RTO training course, serious, no bullshit field training that teaches you how to create real signals operation instructions, manage frequencies under pressure, and run secure group communications when it really matters. Get the AR-152 Pro at brushbeater.store/product/AR-152-Pro. Enroll in the RTO course at brushbeater.store/collection/training. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all radios, accessories, and courses. Orders over $150 ship for free. Big thanks to Matt at Brushbeater Store for powering the Council on Future Conflict this Independence Day weekend. Head to brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and get equipped like our forefathers. Well, you know, like they would have been using Baofengs if they had them back then, but of course they didn't. Ready to defend freedom when called upon. Now back to the show. All right. Let's get into this. Let's get stuck in. We're gonna go through the panoply of international stuff just to kind of. Now this is not definitively everything, but it gives you a good idea of where we're at in the world. And we were mentioning Ukraine earlier, so we'll start there. Zelensky demands Western support after Russian strikes kill 12 in Kiev. So here's the thing: as bad as the 12 killed are, it's things like his defense industry that is really kind of starting to probably fray his nerves. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky renewed his calls for more Patriot missiles Monday, as Russia's latest missile attack killed at least 12 people and injured more than 50 in Kiev on Sunday night. It's critically important that the world, the first and foremost of the United States and our European partners come out of. I'm sorry, I hear my voice in my.
Yeah, I think it might be coming through, Joe. That's all right. I think I can fix it.
Okay. Let's see, where was I? All right. Come out of the NATO summit in Turkey with strong decisions in support of our air defense, Zelensky wrote on X. Zelensky also warned late Sunday that intelligence suggests Russia was. What's up? I think
there we go.
Let's see. Zelensky had also warned Sunday that intelligence suggested Russia was preparing another massive missile strike on Ukraine ahead of this weekend's NATO summit in Ankara. I don't know if you guys saw this, but evidently they have wrapped up a deal where the European Union is going to loan Ukraine $1 billion to buy like 1,000 Patriot missiles.
Why are we doing this still?
Well, the reason they're doing it is because they want to use the European money to pay for the expansion to the Raytheon or RTS facilities, so that we can build more Patriot missiles for ourselves. I mean, the irony here is that we actually get something out of it, but the Europeans are paying for it. So this was actually the least egregious thing that I've seen in a long time when it comes to arming the Ukrainians. What are your guys' take on it? I mean, that was my off the cuff response.
I think that Zelensky's not.
Go ahead, Joe.
I think Zelensky's not really in the place to be making demands of anyone else. And I think he also needs to understand an awful lot of targeting help. And we're really pushing the line already. We told people during the Vietnam that anyone supplying the North the Viet Cong we would consider as an active belligerent. We're kind of in the same boat here.
Yeah, I mean, you know that kind of, and I think that in Vietnam, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, because I haven't dived into Vietnam history that much lately. But how we recognize that was basically any Russians or Chinese that we found in Vietnam, they were basically fair targets. But we didn't go so far as to target them outside of the Vietnam theater, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, how did we?
Well, we did invade Laos.
Handle that.
Fair. Scott might have missed when you said that. We invaded Laos, he said.
Oh, well, yeah, right. No, that's exactly right. You know. Yeah, the Ho Chi Minh Trail was kind of the critical, way that they were supporting. I don't know if my audio's messed up or something.
No,
I'm not hearing Joe.
I think Joe's audio might be kind of messed up, but I'm not sure what it is. I've been trying to tweak it on the back end.
You can hear him where I didn't hear him. So
I can hear him sometimes. I can hear him like occasionally. It's like the first couple of words, and then everything else goes quiet.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I just assumed it's my audio's fucked up. Okay.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Well, Joe, you know the interesting thing for me is
to deny the world my face, but let's see if this helps.
That might help.
Yeah, I heard you perfectly there. Joe, let me ask you this: what's your take on the rapprochement between? Well, we don't know that it's going to happen yet, but when Trump goes to Turkey, it'll be the first time since 2015 that a U.S. president's been in Turkey, and they're talking about turning the Joint Strike Fighter back on, the F-35. What's your take on that kind of, peace, deal between those two?
The peace deal between what two?
Well, but you know what I mean. The diplomatic kind of détente that it looks like it's in the air between the Trump administration and Turkey. The Trump administration
but I don't think that's the case at all. I think that Trump is going there solely because that's where the NATO leaders summit is, not because he wants to visit Turkey. This is an easy way for NATO to let chase is to hold the meeting there, and it then makes it look like we're all one big happy family, even though Turkey is not holding up their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Trump frequently hints that he may turn things on or off for people to try and get them to do what he wants. That doesn't mean that Turkey's ever we're going to get. So this week said that Turkey may get one of their advanced air defense systems. That's all because the NATO summit is there this week, and they want Turkey to play nice. Next week, the tune may change entirely. So I guess my answer to your question is let's wait and see if it really is a détente or if we're just kind of throwing carrots out there to get them to play along.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Joe. The kind of thing for me is to see how are we going to actually see anything that looks different than just we're all sitting at the same NATO table together? Will there be a face-to-face with Erdogan? Now, I could see how they may think that there are some advantages to be gained through vis-a-vis Syria, vis-a-vis Israel, Gaza, and that whole thing. So I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. I just get the feeling that if Trump didn't want to go to Turkey, he wouldn't go to Turkey. Maybe he'd send Hegseth or Rubio if that were the case.
But that's not the type of summit it is. It's the leaders' summit.
Yeah, no, I got you. I'm just saying, like, if he didn't want to go to Turkey, he wouldn't go to Turkey. I don't know.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I think he sees something else there. I just don't know what it is. That's what I'm trying to use. I'm trying to figure it out, but nobody knows the mind of Donald Trump except for Donald Trump. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. So this is related to the Russia stuff and NATO, oddly enough. Russia planning provocation, question mark or quotation marks, Russia planning provocation against Poland to test NATO resolve, U.S. reportedly warned. Now, take the biggest grain of salt that you know how to dish out before, believing this story, because we are all very skeptical of it. But there it is. Telegraph, along with various Eastern European media outlets, including Polish national sources, are reporting U.S. past Warsaw a warning based on intelligence that Moscow is considering an armed provocation against Poland to test NATO's resolve. The provocation scenarios are said to potentially include drone attacks on critical infrastructure such as power plants, or else testing airspace by simulating a large-scale air attack to try to force Poland to prematurely activate its air defenses. An official within the President Karol Nawrocki's administration said the U.S. systematically informs Poland about every new Russian plan for a conventional attack on NATO's eastern flank, from which Poland is by no means excluded. These reports are rife with wild speculation, however, and thus could be standard wartime propaganda.
Can I just say that whole thing right there just it's the lie of it. It says it doesn't exclude Poland. Okay, so it's not necessarily about Poland. It could be Latvia, it could be Lithuania, it could be Estonia, be any number of places. And sure, I'm sure that we would say something like that. It doesn't make it actually true.
Right. And the thing I was thinking about too, since we talked about this, Joe, is this could very well maybe like the standard contingency plans that any country makes pointing at its neighbors. It's like, for instance, North and South Korea have all kinds of war plans about potentially fighting each other. That doesn't mean they're intending on invading each other anytime soon. You got a plan in order to be Johnny on the spot. So,
I mean, I'm sure that we have a plan in case the Eritreans decide to invade Florida. That doesn't mean that's ever going to happen.
Exactly right. And so, I mean, I think the Russians have plans for invading all kinds of countries, to include Belarus, along their borders. That doesn't mean they are actually going to be doing that anytime soon. So take all this, like I said, with a giant grain of salt. Let's see here. one of the it, one of the potential scenarios include an accidental incursion. Moscow could portray such an incursion as accidental, claiming the troops crossed the border because of a GPS failure or entered Poland to retrieve a malfunctioned helicopter. According to the report, Russia could then seek negotiations rather than a military response, betting the United States would pressure Poland not to open fire on Russian or Belarusian personnel. The Telegraph lays out a potential motive for the following. Russian would count on the fact that instead of opening fire on Russian or Belarusian soldiers in such a situation, Poland would be forced by the U.S. to negotiate with Russia or Belarus rather than respond forcibly. A scenario in which the Russian could withdraw from Poland as a result of these negotiations rather than because they were forced to do so by military means would be seen as a win from Moscow's perspective. An end to Western support to Ukraine could even be a central Russian demand of such talks in return for withdrawal from Poland. Yeah, so this is really fanciful, I think, and not altogether serious, if you ask me. I,
Hey,
I'm
hey, listen, that map alone would cause Russia to want to invade because it identifies Kaliningrad as Lithuania.
yeah. Yeah.
Listen, this sounds like the same "oh no, America stopped paying attention to us, please don't withdraw from NATO" bullshit they've been pulling ever since we
Yeah,
started
this
being
is
honest with
Western
them.
European fan fiction.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, I mean, we've kind of dismissively called Lithuania, Latvia, and
Oh,
Estonia the region. And
I'd be
I think this
remiss if
is
we didn't talk about Jay Clark's comment just because I need an opportunity to say it on stream. If the Eritreans invade Florida, we will counterstrike their home from Djibouti.
well. I mean,
That's good.
you gotta get it in there. Good job, Jay Clark. Well done.
I'd never miss an
All right.
opportunity to get in Djibouti.
All right. Anything else, guys? All right. I'm gonna skip this next one. That's the AP story because we kind of already touched the casualties. Let's move on to China's conducts rare. Here we go. China conducts rare submarine launch ballistic missile tests of angry Pacific neighbors. China on Monday conducted a rare test of submarine launched ballistic missiles in the Pacific Ocean, sparking criticism from New Zealand and Australia for actions that are said to threaten peace and stability in the region. The People's Liberation Navy Army Navy plan. I love that acronym. Submarine launched a strategic missile carrying a dummy warhead towards relevant high seas of the Pacific Ocean, which landed precisely within the designated waters, said a statement from the senior captain Wang Zhuming, a spokesman for the plan. This test launch was a routine part of China's annual military training schedule. And Wang said it added to relevant nations were informed about it in advance. The operation was in accordance with international law and practice, targeting no specific country or objective. The CNN has asked China's defense ministry for a comment on the test. Beijing did not say what type of missile was tested. The PLA Navy operates two types of submarine launched ballistic missiles, the JL-2 and the JL-3. The latter has sufficient range to reach the continental United States from waters off the coast of China, including South China Sea, according to missile experts. China's main ballistic missile submarine, the Type 094, also known as the Jin class, of which it operates 6 vessels. Beijing rarely reports its missile tests, but according to the Missile Defense Project, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the JL-3 was first tested in 2018 and then once more a year later. New Zealand's Minister of Foreign Affairs said China fired the missile on Monday into waters off the South Pacific nuclear free zone established in 1986 by the Treaty of Rarotonga. China signed Protocols 2 and 3 of the pact in 1987. Protocol 2 calls on signatories not to use or threaten the use of nuclear weapons against other nations or territories within the zone. Protocol 3 bans the nuclear testing in the zone. Earlier today, China informed us it planned to launch a long-range ballistic missile into the South Pacific. Yeah, I mean, guys, what do you think? This is a part of me thinks like situation normal. Nothing really to see here. But
I would disagree. It's a big deal that China tested a ballistic missile in the Pacific. We don't do that in the areas where other countries are. We do it in the middle of nowhere. They did it in the center of a congested area. So I think that they were sending a message. China doesn't do anything without a plan. Boy, that reminds me of the Admiral in Red October. But anyway, and everyone knows every detail. Treaty of Rarotonga. Come on.
I know. Rarotonga. Yeah, I mean, so I think you're right. It's definitely a message to yeah, I think this is a message to the AUKUS members. This is specific because of the submarine nature of the missile launch and Australia's participation in AUKUS to get U.S. derived nuclear submarines, some of which potentially could have are potentially nuclear capable, but Australia wouldn't operate nuclear weapons on them. But still, the message was sent to New Zealand and Australia, and evidently they heard it. Japanese government also expressed serious concerns. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Someone asked in the chat, was it intentional? Well, you can't unintentionally test a missile. So, yes, it was. And based upon the way that these systems are built, there's literally no way to accidentally fire a nuclear capable missile. It requires a lot of specific and intentional acts in order to make that weapon fire.
Yeah, warned 30 minutes before the test. Yeah, I don't know exactly how long before the test, but just long enough to where they could say, well, we told them before we shot it. And then here's Joe, the one thing I thought about this was, I wonder if we have the same satellite coverage over that part of the globe that we do the Northern Hemisphere. And maybe that might have been one of the reasons, so they could test it without us being able to watch them do it.
Well, and that's the problem with the Pacific Ocean, right? It is so much more vast and wide open than the Atlantic that we may not have that coverage. Good point.
Speaking of missile tests, the North Koreans. Oh, you gotta play audio. We got some badass Korean propaganda audio with this one too, Watcher. So it's worth a gander. I love this lady's voice. Some North Korean propaganda music.
김정은 동지께서는 우리는 신뢰할 수 있는 전쟁 억제력과 전쟁 수행 능력을 유지하고 부단히 확대하기 위한 사업들을 계속 힘있게 다그쳐 나가야 한다고 하시면서 절대적인 힘을 보유하기 위한 우리의 정치적 의지와 결심을 더욱 명백한 행동으로 보여줄 것이라고 확언하셨습니다.
I mean, so yeah.
동지께서는 당중앙연회 제9기 제2차 전원회의가
North Korea just dropped a massive flex, 12 nuclear-capable cruise missiles fired in rapid succession from its newest destroyer. By the way, this is the destroyer that tipped over in its berth and partially sank 2 years ago. Long range, highly accurate, and ready to carry new warheads. Kim's Navy is leveling up fast. The newest edition is already showing off impressive and concerning display. I guess they wanted to get in on all the rockets' red glare over the weekend of the 4th of July. Gentlemen, what's your impression of this North Korean flex?
Well, I think that Kim Jong Un is tired of not being on the world stage, so he's going to flex his muscles just to see what happens.
I think it's not a coincidence that China's junkyard dog did a missile test in the Pacific in the same weekend that China did it.
Yeah, I think there could be something there. This is both basically they're both saying, look, we can deploy nuclear missiles via naval means. Now, I'm much less worried about a North Korean destroyer, because that's easy to take care of. Though a Chinese boomer in the South China Sea is a little different. That would worry me a lot more.
Especially if I spoke Australian.
Yeah.
Have we banished the Socceroos back to their prison colony yet?
Well, the girls can stay. All right. Speaking of China, their friend Iran to grant China, a friendly country, special consideration on Hormuz fees. Iran's
Cami
ambassador
sighting
to China.
for those who. You got a little. I gave a Cami sighting to the fans. So
signs of life.
Nice. All right. Iran's ambassador to China stated that on Saturday that Islamic Republic would impose service fees on vessels transiting the Straits of Hormuz, but that China and other friendly countries would be granted special considerations. If I were China, I'd say, listen, motherfucker, we're not paying a goddamn cent to you guys. During a speech at the World Peace Forum in Beijing on Saturday, Iranian ambassador Faisal affirmed that Iran was working in collaboration and cooperation with Oman on new arrangements for the strait. Ships passing through Hormuz through the 1/5 of the world's oil exports moved before the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran must travel along Iranian territory to north and Oman territory to the south. As the country where Hormuz is part of its territorial water, we will definitely charge service fees. However, the fee would not be a toll. He added, as tolls are considered illegal under international maritime law, though I'm not quite sure what the difference between a fee and a toll is. Instead, the fees would be for security and administration. These
Pure
new
comedy.
arrangements, yeah, I know. These arrangements will be concerning guaranteeing the security of the passage through the Straits of Hormuz, supervising the passage of the vessels, and also guaranteeing and dealing with the environmental consequences of massive number of ships. Let me ask you guys a question. What is the chances that as this continues to go on, and while the peace deal, I have no fucking idea what the state of this peace deal is, because I have no real way of verifying any of the shit that's happening there. I think the closer we get to the longer this continues, the closer we get to a joint forcible intervention on what's the island there? The dolphin-shaped island, Joe?
Oh,
yeah, I can't remember
Kishon or Keshem.
Yeah, Keshem Island. That's the one that I feel like they're cruising for a bruising on, and it's that kind of limited ground action that probably is most defensible by the current administration. I personally would like to see zero grounded interaction, but still, if Iran continues to be stupid, I think they're just more likely to eventually to get to something like that.
I want to point out that I pointed out the fee versus toll argument like 3 weeks ago. That when they first said there'll be no tolls, yeah, but there'll be a fee, and which is a
fee,
toll
right?
by another name. So
yeah. Let's see. Speaking of tolls, fees, and other
So, pirates. Speaking of pirate, like outright international piracy.
Yeah. UK government shocking bid to rig YouTube algorithm to force feed BBC propaganda on and make it impossible way to see any content by people like Tommy Robinson.
is this going to be on YouTube or YouPorn?
Yeah. In a brazen move that reeks of authoritarian control, the UK government is pushing plans to seize influence over YouTube's recommendation system. Their goal is to prioritize content from the BBC and other state-backed propaganda machines while burying independent journalists and creators who dare challenge the official narratives. Does this mean Lord Miles's continued exploration of Afghanistan will not feature prominently in the YouTube algorithm? Sorry. Talk about deep cuts in the show lore. This isn't subtle nudging; it's direct engineered suppression.
1984.
Well, yeah, it's because the nudging didn't work. Like the nudging has got them the exact opposite response every time, and this will do the same.
It's direct engineered suppression, which they're dressing up as protecting democracy from so-called disinformation. As public trust in legacy media plummets, the establishment's response to rig the game rather than earn back credibility. YouTube itself has warned creators about the proposal. The platform alerted users that new rules could force it to give privileged position to approved outlets, limiting growth for everyone else and reshaping what millions see daily. Independent voices who built audiences by speaking the truth to power now face algorithmic exile. Now, the good news is that if you're subscribed to these channels, they wouldn't be banned. Well, initially, right? But they would just not be, they would be buried in the algorithm, kind of like our channel is. And so here's Nigel Farage commenting on X. Look at the appalling state of censorship. Labor now wanted to seize control of YouTube's algorithm. They want YouTube to artificially boost BBC and Channel 4's content and suffocate independent journalists and producers. The BBC has biased for pro mass migration. Yeah, I mean that, and we've seen that on and off throughout the last couple of years. GB News' Alex Armstrong labeled the move an act of pure tyranny designed to control you. Let's watch this video here that they've attached.
The government is preparing to force you to consume BBC and establishment media content to the top of your social media feeds by law. Yes, you could be force-fed what I would call government propaganda and state-controlled media by default, and they're trying to do it by controlling and forcing social media companies to manipulate their algorithms. This is Orwellian nightmare fuel in real-life Britain.
Secure from the pests.
All right, that's good. That's a 3-minute clip. All in all, we don't need to listen to the whole thing. But yeah, this is this is just another step in the direction they've been going. The United Kingdom already arrests more people for free speech violations of their own free speech codes than any other country in the world, to include Russia and China. Well, maybe not China. But definitely anywhere in the Western world. What's your take on this, guys?
This is another case of UK doing the meme. You know, the guy sitting on the edge of the bed with his BBC. There it is. They're forcing it on you.
My take is, and I want to make sure that I get across that I am dead serious when I say this, that we need to punish the UK until their regime utterly collapses. We need to financially punish them for attempting to try and attack a U.S. company to push their bullshit social agenda to the point where their government collapses in on itself.
Yeah, I think this is actually right. But what I mean, we could use the Commerce Department against them. We could use sanctions. But really, is YouTube, i.e., Google, willing to kind of push back and ask for the United States to help? And would the administration actually do that? I think in some cases they've already done that, but I don't know.
I don't think that our administration will. We should.
We should,
but
yeah.
we won't.
I don't know.
We do. We have a lot of tools.
We really do. We could hit them incredibly hard.
I'm just kind of skimming. This is a long story. I'm just kind of skimming it to see if there's anything that talks about, kind of U.S. response.
Not yet, because it happened over the weekend, and it happened over a holiday weekend. So
yeah. John Cleese blasts BBC over whiteness claims, pushes back against Islamist tide in Britain. You know what's crazy? When arch liberals are sound like free speech advocates in a country like the United Kingdom, because he is like one of those milquetoast Hollywood liberal types, but ultimately, like Ricky Gervais, has actually kind of fallen on the rights on our side of the Overton window when it comes to current UK policy. All right. Let's see. Let's go. What do we got next here? This is our last one. Canada. Yeah, look at that. Canada doing something worthwhile for a change. Canada seizes 7 tons of drugs, fentanyl chemicals, and signal jammers in China-linked narco bust. The Brumby RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, investigation that began with a routine traffic stop last summer has ended in one of the largest drug chemical seizures in British Columbia's history. 6,765 kilograms of finished narcotics, and that's about 7 tons of finished narcotics and fentanyl production chemicals pulled from 3 homes and 2 shipping containers in Richmond, alongside tactical shotguns, cash, contraband cigarettes, and a multi-antenna device consistent with signal jammers used to defeat electronic surveillance. The Bureau's assesses the seizure of this magnitude staged in residential properties and C-can containers in Richmond, the city that court records in Canada's largest money laundering investigation have established as a central node in the Chinese transnational organized crime, is consistent with industrial scale flow of precursor chemicals from China through Vancouver Gateway. Joe, how is it possible? China is such a good friend to Canada; they would never let this happen to the Canadians.
China is an innocent player in all this, and they said they were going to stop this. But I've never in my life heard a Connex called a C-can.
I wonder if that's like a Canadian, a Canadian term or something. I don't know.
My read on this is that Canada's only doing this under threat from us. I would bet you that the origination of the intelligence on this probably came
only
from our side. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
They're only doing it because it was a traffic stop and they couldn't not. You know what I mean? The traffic stop found the drugs, so they had to do something about it. I don't think this is something they wanted to do. So I think you're right on that, Watcher. It's not something they wanted to do, but everyone knew about the traffic stop, and they're like, well, we have to follow up on it. There is a $5
Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on super chats once we're complete with this story here before we move on. I got a couple more smaller ones. So,
Now that's a bus. That's just the raw chemicals too.
yeah, that's a lot.
Yes.
This is a lot. This is a lot, right? Yeah. So
the important part is the stuff that China said they were no longer allowing to be shipped from their country.
Yeah. So the case began in July 30th, 2025, when a Burnaby officer stopped a vehicle and seized approximately 4 kilograms of precursor chemicals commonly used. So kilograms is not a lot. Commonly used in fentanyl production. The Burnaby gang enforcement team continued investigating. The driver worked with police, produced 3 more suspects and several crime scenes. On April 1st of 2026, the gang unit, supported by Burnaby's RCMP strike force, prolific offender suppression teams, executed 5 search warrants, and simultaneously investigators recovered. That's when they got all these finished narcotics and precursor chemicals. Some of the finished product is suspected methamphetamines, fentanyl, and oxycodone. All 5 sites were in Richmond. The geography matters, and Washington has said so at the highest levels. Richmond has is the home of Silver International, an underground bank at the center of the RCMP's e-pirate casino money laundering investigation. That's interesting. That's something I've never heard of. Anyway, yeah, guys, this is shit like this is the reason why we just need to kind of consider Canada as a non-friendly nation. Because no matter how friendly our maple syrup drinking friends from across the border are, their government is fucking hostile to the United States and the people of the United States. And we should treat them appropriately. No offense to our friends north of the border, but when your government acts the way it does, we can't ignore that.
Most of our viewers north of the border are in states that are trying to no longer be part of Canada. So,
well, and good reason, and there's a good reason for that. But that being said, the federal government of Canada has a their policies reign supreme when it comes to the border between the United States and Canada, and the foreign friends that they allow into their country. All right, let me catch up here. Anything else, guys, on Canada and how just weird they are north of the border, friends included?
Yeah, I mean, it's been I think a lot more Americans have got an eye full of what Canadians think of Americans over the last week, just from the FIFA stuff. But yeah, it's truly concerning. I think that we will probably come into some sort of conflict within the next few years, in one form or another.
Point out that Canada exists through our magnanimousness solely.
Facts.
Well, and I think there's a lot to that, Joe, and the threats by the administration to fully pull out of the what is it? It's not NAFTA anymore. It's something else that they
whatever the renegotiated one was. Yeah.
From the first Trump administration. So they're looking at pulling out of that, and it'll be interesting to see if this is the kind of stuff that potentially pushes us in that direction, and I think that would be wise. Anything else, guys? All right, let me catch up on some super chats here. Let's see. We did all the member chats. Hazmat member for 9 months. Jim Satala member for 9 months or 19 months. Just me, once again, thank you for that generous $50 super chat. All right, over to Rumble. Low Key LARP towards the beginning of the show, gifted 5 subs to Future Conflict. Thank you very much. Appreciate that support. Let's see. Hunch Dirty Roofer for $2 says, "Excuse me, Hazmat. I smoke by the fire pit. Thank you very much." Going back to the dumpster in question. And then Hunch had another $5 super chat. If I can control my chat window here. Watcher, while I agree with you, the EU has been pulling that same shit since its inception. Their entire reason for being since the 1970s is to undercut American industries. Yeah. Well, the irony is that Angela Merkel basically completely destroyed their defense industry in the 90s and the 2000s because she was like, we don't need to spend money on defense, and if we do, we've got the Americans who can just supply us with whatever we need, which I thought was a kind of an interesting quote from that period. But yeah, now they're definitely looking for opportunities to kind of undercut us, which I'd be happy if they undercut us completely within the NATO sphere. That would then allow us to then withdraw from the NATO sphere, which I would be happy with. Any thoughts on any of that, guys?
No.
No.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Same.
And Grizz says DDR commie OST Merkel. Yeah. The irony though is that almost all of the people who are the AFD kind of stronghold regions are all the former Eastern German provinces. It's almost like they know what living under this fucking communist bullshit is, and they want something a little more German in their flavor. So interesting.
Look, I'll believe all of this shit, including that, Europe's going to pay for missiles for Ukraine, when they start following through on the countless other promises they've made about rearming themselves or all the other shit, which they continuously back out of as soon as nobody's looking again.
Oh, yeah. They are double dealers of the highest order. So I expect nothing of the Europeans. And if they give us nothing, I will never be surprised. It would be only their actual involvement in this stuff that would surprise me. All right, let's move on to segment 2, the domestic stuff. First up, nope, that's female cop got knocked to the ground as first up. I told you, adding and rearranging. Yep, there you go, that one at the top.
Yep. My computer just takes a minute.
So I guess there were 2 big teen takeovers in Raleigh over the weekend, and this is one of them. Female cop gets knocked to the ground and swarmed by a teen takeover participants in Raleigh, North Carolina. They kicked her while she was down, shot fireworks right at her, all while the crowd stands there recording it like it's content. And then I don't know, did you see that one chick was like whacking her with this, like, it looked like a Roman candle or something like, and that's her, and they're not fucking arresting her. They're just telling her to get away. And she was the one that was taking
that's
that
a felony assault right there.
Yeah, like a billy club to that cop. Like, okay, so we got those 2. Then her right there she is, the girl with the long hair. The cop pushes her down, and then she stays right in.
Can we stop for a moment and appreciate that this dumb ape has a freaking weave stuck around her ankle and she drags it around the entire fight? The entire time. How?
Does she what?
She's got a weave stuck around her ankle the entire time, dragging it around, stuck to her ankle. The weave that used to be on her head. Ugh.
Yeah, the blonde girl.
I always love weaving.
Not blonde girl, white. The girl in the white t-shirt. Yeah.
I like. Gets caught in his jacket and he just runs away with the laser line attached.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
Well,
people
I
didn't
want.
notice that, but he gets hit with the you said taser line reflect. That guy just keeps right on running.
I wondered, Joe, if it basically caught in his sweatshirt because it's kind of baggy and thick, maybe, and so it was holding on to the
That's what I
sweatshirt
said.
and not his
Gets caught in
skin.
his
Yeah,
jacket.
yeah. All right. So, yes,
Because you see the cop
people.
hit him with it real good. And you can see the line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then the thing that I thought was really surprised by was he just took off, and I was like, is he not getting the fucking jolts? I mean, because those things are not. Those are pretty fucking spicy.
Well, when you look at it, you see his body lock up for half a second, and then he go. I think the barb touched him, and then got caught in the jacket and yanked back when he started to
Yeah,
move.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
So
I think you're. I think you're 100%
he
right.
got to ride the lightning for a second, but he didn't hold on.
And you're like, who's the chick with the stick just wandering around? Is that the one that the Roman candle girl that's basically beating the cop with a Roman candlestick? I think that's the one. Yeah, Kamala.
And let me say this before everyone jumps in. I don't know too many male cops who could take on 4 people at once either. And to her credit, once they got those people off of her, she didn't go away and try to attend to her injuries. She jumped right back in the fight and grabbed that dude by the arm and swung it around. So
All right. Anything else on this one? I'm gonna say no. I think there's other footage of these Raleigh team takeovers. I just wanted to show, Joe, we were talking before the show starts. This kind of is a great example of, it's not the fact that you can't be a cop when you're a woman, but most women should not be cops. Let's just be honest. I know probably there are some female law enforcement officers out there that would disagree. But I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't think as a father of 2 daughters, I don't think either of my 2 daughters could be cops.
Look, I'm just gonna say that if you weigh 112 pounds soaking wet and are 5'3",
Boy
I
or
don't
girl.
care. I don't care what's between your legs. You're gonna get thrown around like a rag doll, and you have no place on the police force. Period.
Well,
but that
End of
goes to
story.
male or female though.
Yeah,
right.
that is
Yeah.
what I said.
Yeah, that's what he
And
said.
I want to point out that shield maidens were a thing, and in some cases still are. It depends on the woman. That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, hold on, Karen. Not just same with firefighters. That goes triply so for firefighters. Like half of a firefighter's job is to carry other large body-sized people out of burning buildings. Like,
Yeah.
some of a police's job, you could say, hey, if you're small, you maybe could still do it, right? There is no part of that you can do if you are not large.
Well, like we were talking before the show, like when I was an infantry company commander, like there were no women in the infantry at that point, right? And that being said, the people we were trying to weed out of the infantry were all men. Like, because not all the guys that were in my company should have been infantrymen. And we actively, suggested to guys that we didn't think were right for the job for whatever reason, both temperament and also physicality, that there are other things that they could do, other ways to serve the Army. And we help them realize those goals. Let's see here. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says, I've broken up a few mini riots when you're in the moment. You're not always thinking about detainment till you have to back up in the crowd control by the suspects. I know that, this is one of the reasons why I think that there should be more forceful, i.e. potentially lethal options for some of these people, especially when it's like 10 on 1.
I just want to take a moment and issue a slight correction here. Durna says a lot of the guys in the infantry should be in adult daycare, Scott. Yes, but that is certainly not a disqualifying. That is not one of the disqualifying features. That's what corporals are for.
Well, let's be honest.
It's
not just the infantry; it's most of the military.
I was going to say it's basically everybody. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
lagging is really being a problem. I don't know why. I moved closer to the router. I don't know what it is, but
It's all right, man.
I'm going to point out that watch Heartbreak Ridge. There's a great scene in the beginning where the major is the Gunny Highway, and he says, "You're an anachronism. You should be put behind glass with a sign that says, 'In case of war, break glass.'" And you know what? That goes to what Derna said, though, right? There are some people who should just be locked up until it's time for a war. So I'm proud to be one of those people. I'm not very smart at much else, but there we are.
It's
right.
interesting that you would press X to doubt on Shield Maidens there, Billy Blog. I'm just saying, if you've seen Nordic stock, many Nordic women are larger than most other people's men.
Yeah, this is true.
And bro lives in England, where Shield Maidens took over entire towns from the English. But okay.
I mean, let's be honest though. In Viking bands, it was probably 1 out of 100 when we're talking about those Shield Maidens, but they still existed. All right, let's move on to the next story here. Cops acting appropriately when things go amiss. According to Associated Press, 2 Tennessee National Guard soldiers assigned to the Trump administration's Memphis Safe Task Force fatally shot an armed man during a foot pursuit early Sunday morning. Authorities say the soldiers, who were assisting Memphis police in responding to reports of gunfire, opened fire after the suspect allegedly turned towards them with a firearm. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene despite life-saving efforts by 2 National Guard medical specialists. No law enforcement personnel were injured. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is leading the investigation. The incident marks the first fatal shooting involving National Guard personnel deployed under the administration's crime reduction mission in Memphis, where federal deployment has faced legal and political opposition since last year. Though I'll be honest with you, if this guy that they shot, or gal, or whoever was laying dead on the ground with a gun in their hand, I don't know how much longer that investigation needs to take. It's probably a legit shooting.
Well, that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I want to know though why somebody felt the need to Photoshop the National Guard thing on there. It said military police in the actual photo. That's clearly not the actual tag. So.
Yeah. So I think what this is just one of those kind of generic National Guard that are unarmed, by the way, providing, kind of neighborhood.
The guy has an M17 with a mag in the holster right there.
Does he?
Yeah, they were military police, and well, my point is only that this photo is Photoshopped. Their placards don't say National Guard; they say military police,
and they did it for a reason.
Yeah, they put this on here to illustrate that it's National Guard. If you look at it, you could tell that's not the actual one he's wearing. It's too perfect, right? It's just weird to me that they swapped it. And I think they only have them on the front, actually, that say military police. So,
yeah, I don't know what their uniform guidelines are.
Right there it is.
Or what their placards are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I do.
But yeah,
that's why I take
on the backpack with the good flexi cuffs. We had another story about the same thing.
Yeah, hopefully, good point. How could they shoot the guy if they were unarmed, right?
All the pictures I see there, it says military police on that same black placard on the back. So I think you're right on the money. I either this is just a one-off or this is a Photoshop deal.
It looks to me like Photoshop because you can kind of see the camo through it. So,
yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go on to this. Does the next story have anything new in it? Let me. If it's just kind of covering over. Yeah. Just gonna look at it.
And the next one is archived.
Yeah, it's mostly just pictures on the suspect. 20-year-old Tyron Johnson led the soldiers on a chase before they opened fire. Let's see. For reasons under investigation, the situation escalated, resulting. Yeah, because he fucking pointed a gun at them, is what I'm sure what happened. And let's be honest, Joe. Military police are not inclined to just let people point guns at them without responding. At least that's my experience with MPs.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna have to. You got an archive link for this one?
No, but I'm trying to see if I can get through the thing a different way.
Hold on a second.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, this. You know what? Let me. Somebody raised a point in the chat I wanted to mention. It says, "Don't mess with the MP. Quick way to end up eating dirt." Yeah, listen. The military police operate under an entirely different set of use of force rules, right? They're more likely to drop the hammer on you.
Yeah, just from a training aspect,
Yeah.
the military will do that, but the MPs, are probably less trigger happy than the infantry, but more trigger happy than, say, a neighborhood cop or somebody like that. And when I say trigger happy, I don't mean that they shot without reason. I mean they're just, they're inclined
Well, there are a lot
to
of
defend
things that the
themselves
military
actively.
police do that civilian police don't, that
That's right.
require the use of deadly force, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's a good.
protection of national security information. Guy walks out of an office building at night with papers. You can shoot that guy in the military. You can't in the civilian police force. So,
And then every one of these National Guards have got to have the basically the assassination of those two National Guard members in DC in the back of their mind. So this is not a deployment without casualties. So don't forget that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Super Typhoon Bavi, powerful Category 5 storm, hammered the U.S. territories of Guam and northern Mariana,
Marianas.
Thank you. I don't know why it was tripping me up. Marianas Islands, especially Saipan and Rota on July 5th to 6th, with destructive winds, heavy rain, and flooding. So why is this important, right? The intensity is much higher than normal. The storm sustained winds near 175 miles per hour, with higher gusts, remaining a dangerous Category 5 super typhoon as it moved over near the islands before tracking westward. It was one of the strongest storms of 2026. Island-wide power outages on Saipan, down power lines, potential flash flooding, hazardous conditions across Guam, Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. The strong winds and rain lashed the area. Rota took a particularly hard hit with catastrophic damage, snapped trees, stripped vegetation, flooding, blocked roads. No deaths or injuries are reported at this time. Let's see, there are current typhoon warnings remain in effect for the main islands, with ongoing hazardous conditions even as the storm moved away. The storm was part of an active Pacific season which followed. Now, so what's the so what on this? What do we got on Guam there, Joe? That's kind of what you'd call a strategic asset.
we have a lot of things there. We have a couple of serious bases. We have a Marine forward deployed force, and we have a very important Air Force base.
Yeah, what is it?
So,
Anderson? Is that?
There's quite a lot of interesting stuff. And there is also the grave risk, as Hank Johnson has told us, of Guam just tipping over.
Yes.
And when the wind pushes all the people to one side of the island, the odds of that increase. So we're very worried about this.
Yeah, I mean, so just kind of go through some of the impacts, the national security impacts here. So potential national security impacts from the typhoon. Let's see here. Guam hosts the Anderson Air Force Base, which is the one I mentioned. For some reason, I think Anderson Air Force Base somewhere else.
Everyone always thinks Anderson. This place is Anderson with Clark.
Yeah.
Right, and Clark is closed. So
yeah. The Naval Base Guam, which is submarine and surface fleet, is there. These assets are vital for power projection. You've got other stuff there. you know,
Rifle
Guam as
Security Battalion, Guam. So,
Guam, the key thing, one of the key things about Guam is that it is a major logistics node for U.S. operations in that part of the Pacific, i.e., the South China Sea, in that kind of region. And so, to the extent that we wouldn't be able to use the assets there for logistics support because they're knocked out because of weather. Would be a huge if, say, China were to get frisky
you know what?
in and around Taiwan.
Let's defer to the prophet here. In the book, The Debt of Honor, what was the cover story for why no one could reach Guam and Saipan by phone or internet at the beginning of the book? They claimed it was because of a storm.
A storm, yeah.
That all the comms went down with Saipan and Guam, but the Japanese had retaken them. So what are the chances of a Chinese op here? I'm just kidding, everyone. Before everyone starts to actually me.
Actually, that's such a I remember reading that when it came out, and that was such a good book.
It is a great book. The Japanese takedown of Saipan was actually textbook in that book. It was fantastic.
Isn't that the one that ended with the Capitol building and an airplane, like the 9/11
yes,
into the Capitol?
Was someone flying an airplane into the Capitol building? Huh. Weird.
Yeah, I wonder where they got that idea from. What was it? That was early 90s, so 10 years later.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Do we not have? The tough lady doesn't make a. Let's skip that one.
What? Come on, it's at least funny.
Well, but it's almost like we need the full story on the Patriot Front there. Let's be honest.
I figured we just talked through that.
Yeah, the Patriot Front gathered in D.C. to show that they are not completely extinct. I guess what that means is their bank accounts were able to be refilled so they could pay off some actors and other. Let's be honest. There's one or two feds involved in this, and then you got a bunch of basically lucky-loos who are being paid to show up in that costume.
Watcher raised the best point about this. They only show up. Granted, I'm going to tell you, there probably are a lot of disaffected youth in there. A lot of the people probably genuinely believe the stuff that's on the Patriot Front website. That being said, they only show up when the left or the deep state or the media needs a talking point about white Christian nationalism. Correct. These guys magically appear out of the woodwork in large numbers. Yeah. Well, I think if they were in such large numbers, you would see them other times, but you do not.
And you would think that if they've been doing this for long enough, right? You would think that if their goals aligned with the goals that they state that they have, that they would see that what they have done has been universally unhelpful in every circumstance they've ever done it in, and maybe adjust those tactics and do it in some other way. I'm also supposed to take at face value that they're very strictly enforced grooming and weight standards just so happen to align with exactly what you would need if you wanted any Fed in existence to be able to throw on whatever the Patriot Front uniform of the day is and blend into the audience. I'm supposed to believe that was a coincidence and that they're the only group of the type that has it. Yeah, okay. Also, the mask situation, right? Like, how many J6ers were defended by wearing masks?
How many Antifa people wear masks every day and literally no one complains about it?
Here's the difference, like between a real group that are along these lines and these guys, right? I mean, so if you remember back to the heyday of the Proud Boys, right? They were essentially a real version of what this Patriot Front is purporting to be, right? Now, what did you have?
You need to read the Patriot Front website before you make a statement like that. They are vastly
that's true.
No, I'm talking. Their politics are different, but I'm saying the organic nature of one is a real organization, right? And that's the Patriot Front. And so, what does that mean? The Patriot? Oh no, I'm sorry. The Proud Boys were a real organization. That meant the individual members had opinions. They were like, yeah, I'm in the group, right? And I enjoy doing this. They had girlfriends who were proud of their boyfriends for being in this. They were, like I have a Patriot. Or not Patriot. A Proud Boys flag at the MMA gym where I train and things like this, right? I mean, their leader was out there, and there were tons of just regular shots of him hanging out with his guys, right? And they were masks off, and they were, organic. They were real people. Whereas the Patriot Front exists essentially on a website until they can mobilize their members. And then how many of these people have ever came out and just publicly said, outside of like one or two spokespeople type people, like, oh, I'm in this group and blah, blah, blah. This is what we stand for. I'm really proud of this. It's like, that doesn't exist. None of us know anybody who is, Patriot Front adjacent, right?
Well, no, and look, I know some people who I know people who say they talk to people who are in Patriot Front, and they invite me to talk to them. And again, if you've read what I've stated about it, I don't want to talk to a Patriot Front member. I don't have some kind of like, get away, you evil cur. I just don't think they're the one driving it, and I don't think that anything they have to say is useful for me to listen to in any way, shape, or form.
Well, no, I guess my point is that there are just no organic members. These are not real organizations in the sense that any other kind of popular organization or club is. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second here.
I think there are organic members. I think they're folks who are being duped by people controlling the leadership.
Exactly.
On that note, though, I challenge everyone who tells me this, actually go and read the Patriot Front website and what they stand for, and it's socialism.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. It's essentially a nationalist socialist group,
but for white people. Yep.
Yes.
National socialists.
Well, no, because there's a lot of national socialists from a lot of different nations, right? And like for instance, the black community in large are national socialists. They're just national socialists for blacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a great point. The new Black Panther Party is nationalist socialist because their goals align with that, but nobody will call them that.
I don't know if I would call a lot of these Pan-African groups, nationalists.
The ones that are seeking to establish a African nation on U.S. soil, I would. They're explicitly nationalists. They're just not U.S. nationalists.
Well, but see, that's just it. A nationalist has to have a nation to be a nationalist.
Yes, Scott, they want a black nation. They've actually given like geographic boundaries they claim.
That's why
you're saying that you have to have an established nation to be a nationalist for it. I don't think that's true at all. There are all kinds of nations in potential that exist all over the world with nationalists that adore them.
Far be it for me to disagree with you guys. I contend that people like that are separatists, not nationalists, right? Like
tomato.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think it's tomato. I think they're distinct.
I know you don't. I do.
All right,
but here's what we did.
Verna's right. Kurds. Look at the Kurds.
Now, here's what I will say on the Patriot Front story on either side of it, which is, I look at what they've actually done, and I don't know that they've ever done anything that I'm going to condemn. Right. So apart from, I think they're misguided, I'm not going to come out and be like, you guys are terrible. I'm going to dox you, blah, blah, blah. I think that's pretty weird. And as an example of that, we have kind of an interesting video. I'm sure everybody saw the video of the young woman being intimidated by all these white nationalists on this bus. But apparently there's some before video. I think you should probably see.
Some chicanery. What is she doing?
She is stripping and screaming. She's been arrested many, many times for public indecency on this exact bus. She makes a habit of coming on the bus and screaming and taking her clothes off.
I think it's a train, not a bus, but yes.
Or train. There you go.
Yeah.
And in case people are curious, is that for sure the same person? Yes. They have her arrest record. She's there all the time doing the same shit.
Well, here's what's funny is everyone posted that video of, oh, look at these guys intimidating a black woman on the train. They literally didn't engage her. They didn't speak to her. They didn't do anything. They literally just stood there.
Well, you're
And
right. To the
there's
extent
plenty
that
of
they're
things to criticize them for. This wasn't one of them.
Yeah, to the extent that they're intimidating her, that says more about her and being around like a bunch of white guys in masks than it does about them.
What those people are implying is that a group of white guys have no right to be on a bus that a black woman is on, and that's just silly, right?
Mike Shelby, Lance Corporal veteran for $5 said, Mike Shelby said he was recruited. He checked them out and found that they were mostly upper class or upper middle class rich boys from pseudo socialism.
Yeah, I'm sure that's correct. Middle class and middle class boys are generally the ones who fall for socialism. It is a disease of the bourgeoisie.
All right. Let's see. Moving on.
Talking about people making action that I can approve of any day of the week.
Yeah, this is more of this, please, is what I say.
Oh my God, she's.
What's that?
I said, oh my God, she's wearing a mask. It's funny how they only complain when Patriot Front wears a mask, but not when the other side.
Yeah, that's 100% right.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
What I don't understand, I guess these other people are maybe with these girls, and they're like,
it's Portland. It's Portland. They hang out in packs. It's Antifa.
I love the squeals, pig squeals.
The best part is once they realize that he was not a sheep and he was going to fight back, literally none of them wanted anything to do with him.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna let that guy go. And somebody pointed out that they need more of this to happen to them. And I'm 100% with you. When they say, but it's my right to burn the American flag if I want to. Listen, that First Amendment protects you from government action. It does not protect you from the actions of Scott, Watcher, or Joe. I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah.
This next one sucks. I'm not a fan of this next one.
I'm waiting to open it here. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So essentially, what you got here is this is once again conservative of Portland, Oregon live. This is in Portland, Oregon. A conservative live streamer, Tommy for Trump 420, was the target of a suspected Antifa home attack where someone smashed into the bedroom while his wife was sleeping and sprayed what is believed to be bear mace all over the inside. So a home invasion and chemical attack inside somebody's home. This is why you need to be armed.
This is where the proper response is gunfire.
No, facts.
Look.
Because Joe, when you're woken by
and bear.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead and play the video first.
Our bedroom, bear maced my wife at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. They threw a brick through our bedroom window and soaked us with mace. This is Antifa. This is what Antifa does. This is what Antifa does when you don't agree with them. They come to your house. They come to your house. They come to your house and destroy your shit.
Well, there's a lot of people saying, hey, there's a solution for that. It's bang. And I agree. That's what he should do. But remember where he's living. He's living in Portland. And he honestly, more's gone into this. They had just moved because they had been being attacked in the night like this for months up to this point. They had just barely moved. And the only people who knew where they had moved were the Portland police.
Well, everyone knows the Portland police are heavily infiltrated.
Infiltrated, yeah.
But apparently they had to give them their new address for some sort of court document shit.
Hey, Joe, when you have an unknown chemical irritant, like absolutely just pumped into your room like this, that could be interpreted as a deadly attack. Could it not? Or I'm fearing for my life.
So two things. To use deadly force doesn't actually require a deadly threat. It requires a threat of serious bodily harm. And impact to my respiratory system counts as serious bodily harm, right? So the answer to your question is yes, you absolutely can use deadly force in response to this. Also, the Breaking and Entering Act generally in almost every state enables you to immediately use deadly force in response because somebody forcibly attacked a home they knew was occupied. You can assume then automatically that they are there to do you harm because they know you're there and they still busted in the window.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this is the kind of thing that you can expect. This
is also why you never ever put your bed under a window. That is just silly to me. I don't understand why people do it. One, it makes you easier to be attacked. And two, if somebody is wanting to burglarize your home, you give them a step down to the floor when they come in the window. Don't do that.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but like I'm a big advocate of bedrooms on the second floor. I know that can't be the case for everybody. A elevated first floor, like in an older house that has a elevated
level.
those would be okay too. But the whole point is just like somebody shouldn't be able to walk up to your window, look in, see you in the bed, break it. I mean, theoretically, they could just shoot into your window and hit you while you're sleeping in your bed. That should not be a thing. That's just one of those security questions that should go into how you secure your home.
You should take the learnings from the Gray Man series of books. If you haven't read them, you should, because there's a lot of great teaching in there. But never put your bed somewhere you would expect someone to find it. Right? People will attack you there. If you go to somewhere, move the bed. It's crazy.
One final story here on the Antifa and the 4th of July. This is from Andy No. Portland, Oregon, because of course, Antifa and far left extremists launched an attack on the public on the 4th of July to express hatred for the country. They called for the destruction of the U.S. and violently beat and bloodied people. This video on Instagram by one of the direct action participants. So this is their video speaking for them. Is there audio or is it
It's
music?
I mean, it's bagpipers, or it was before.
Stop. No, right. Get on the bike and actually work out.
In the roadway immediately and move onto the sidewalk. If you stay in the street, you may be arrested or cited for disorderly conduct.
He's got a gun! He pulled a fucking gun on us!
Good. Wish he'd have shot you.
Brandishing a fucking gun. This guy in the red sweatshirt hit a woman and fucking pulls a gun. Shut the fuck up, you fucking white. Oh, no. You got in his face.
Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are in the midst of an active communist revolution. No active communist revolution has ever been suppressed or put down without the communists forcing it to come to blows.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. First of all, if you live somewhere like that, don't go where they're going to be, right? Don't get there.
Yeah,
2,
don't go to public events.
advocating the violent overthrow of the United States government is a federal crime that is a felony, and these people commit it all the time, and they screech free speech. Well, free speech has a line, and that's it. And the next one is notice the Portland police and who they had leave and who they allowed to continue to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yep.
Don't live there. You've lost that city. Don't live there.
Yeah, they don't want you. Just in case you didn't realize this. Guys, let's look towards the future here of this week. We've got we had a fun 4th of July. I think all in all, there's some good stuff to kind of dwell upon coming out of the 4th, but there's definitely
let me address something real quick before you go there.
Go ahead.
Mutually assured. We're having a discussion about defending yourself or not, and he's saying they're going to screw you in court. And it says you'd be in prison, which would suck. That's not true, because Daniel Penny won his fight in a highly liberal area, and so did Kyle Rittenhouse. You understand it's going to suck in the interim, but in the end, you're going to win because the law is the law, and they do have to follow it. They might try to convict you, and they might try to get you to plea bargain. But if you actually go to court and go to trial, you're going to end up winning because the law says you can defend yourself. It's very simple.
I'll do you one better. You may die, but if you don't think standing up for your liberty is worth death, then I mean, that's the difference between somebody like you and somebody
it's
like
literally
me.
worth the fight. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys, let's look into the crystal ball. Like I said, after we had a pretty good 4th of July weekend, we were thankful outside of some of these domestic kind of fucking brouhahas, like the Ting takeover and the Antifa stuff that you saw in that video. We didn't have any actual terrorist attacks that I saw. At least nothing that's hit the news that I'm being made aware of. So that's good. That means regular people who just wanted to have a good time were able to enjoy the 4th. But looking towards the future, there's still a lot of, as we saw, there's a lot of trouble spots out there. Joe, where do you think that the likelihood going into this week potentially is, and both international or domestic?
I like domestically, we're going to continue to see them ramping things up as the summer goes on into protests ahead of the elections to make the country appear as unstable and divided as they can, because that benefits the Democratic Party in the election, to show that people don't support Donald Trump's policies or procedures. And Donald Trump's going to have to put his foot on the gas on the immigration issue, because everyone is feeling they got sold a bill of goods there. We started out great with the operation in Minneapolis, and then he totally caved on that. And now there's a lot of public pressure looking for that. And so that would cause counter protests and things like that. So I think the domestic angle is where it's going to come from. And I think you should really be paying attention about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Watcher?
I also think you probably need to watch for Iran. Trump said that he's given him a week for the funeral, which the funeral itself was kind of interesting. I suspect things are going to get kind of interesting and spicy in the near future on that front.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is really no actual peace between us and them. So,
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think you're going to see a lot of these kind of below the line incidents. Especially domestically. I think the teen takeovers are a great example. It's likely anything to be chalked up as local criminal disturbances. But Joe, we've talked about these in the past. These are part of a larger, kind of, you could say, cultural trends, but I think there is politics behind it. I think there is, definitely people who are pushing these to occur. I don't know, I don't know exactly what's behind it, but there's too many of them occur. Well, watcher, there are too many of these things occurring to be an accident. So I think you're going to see these ratchet up, and we've kind of called for um basically another summer of love this year. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen it yet, but there's still a lot of summer left, so we'll see. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you very much. Glad to be back. Glad to have my setup going. It's still not the full setup. Joe says his browser crashed. I know the feeling. I know that feeling. Anyway, so I'm glad to be back. Glad to have my setup. I will improve my position as any good infantryman does over time. I need to. My monitor is probably gone so I probably need to get a second monitor. And Watcher, I miss having a full size keyboard too. I guess I'll just have to lump it.
I can imagine.
I got by this on this setup for the entire time I was in Turkey. So a couple weeks, months in my parents' house shouldn't be too bad. Well, I mean, isn't this always a problem? All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you for being here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Let us know. Let us know what's going on, and let your friends know that you're getting good stuff from Joe's back just in time. Device not connected. Yeah. Let your friends know that you're getting some good stuff from us over here on the Council on Future Conflict. There he is.
Oh
At the
my
last
God.
minute. Joe, do you want to say goodbye to the folks before I sign us off?
Hey, sorry, I was sitting here, my browser was just like, experience an unexpected error, it needs to close. I was like, fantastic, right now. All right. Hey, just stay safe, get out there, have fun, be American, be obnoxious, patriotic, because it drives everyone nuts. Keep at it.
That's exactly right. And here's the other thing too. Don't be afraid to tell your opinions, even if they're unpopular, with a lot of the people that you may be around. All right, that's all I got. Thank you guys for being here. As always, stay safe.